maybe he's under more pressure here, bro?
I think it's inarguable. Jalen Hurts.
Inarguable.
Yeah,
we shouldn't have put it in the show.
Jalen Hurts by a mile to me. You know, I mean, J-Lo is on the team that's not Jordan Love, not expected to win, right? He doesn't have his number one, his deep option. I think Jalen Reed's probably their best receiver, but Christian Watson's clearly the deep threat. He's not there. They're expected to lose. This team already beat him, Philadelphia. And for Jalen, I mean, first of all, J-Lo's in his second year as a starter. Jalen is in his fourth year as a starter. Jalen's already been to the Super Bowl and played well. And people felt like, you know, they should get over it. Last year, they had this meltdown of a season that a lot of people put on Jalen Hurts. So this year, he's got his own wide receivers questioning his passing ability. All right, and if he loses his game, Nick, his coach might get fired. Like, I mean, that really could happen. And when you look at that team, the defense is great. The receivers are great. The running back is great. The O-line is great. The quarterback's the only one that's not great. He's good. He's not great. If they lose, people are going to be pointing at Jalen.
So that's why, because the flip side to that is he doesn't have to play great for them to win.
I agree with that.
And so that, to me, it's definitely arguable. In fact, I think it's clearly Jordan Love, because some people, maybe even some people at this table, think he's the best quarterback in the NFC.
Most,
and so I know it's not you. And so he got paid because really what he did in this round last year under these circumstances. 7 seed on the road, doesn't matter. Team won 16 straight at home. I'm going to go light them up. And you're right that Jalen Hurts has been a starter longer. I think they're the same draft class. Like, it just, you know, Jalen, or I'm now getting his name wrong. You keep calling him Jordan, or J-Lo. Jordan Love sat for 3 years. So he doesn't have a Saquon to lean on, and he doesn't have an A.J. Brown to lean on. And so for the Packers win when he plays great. This year, if he has a 95 or above passer rating, they have lost one time. We can show it to you. They're 7-1, and the one loss was one of their better games of the year, 34-31 to Detroit, you know, against one of the best teams in football. So the idea kind of behind the Packers is we have a superstar in the making quarterback, a quarterback whisperer head coach. We're going to go as the passing game takes us. So I think Jordan Love goes into all these games with massive pressure. I've got to be excellent. Jalen Hurts goes into games, I feel like this game, like, well, come off concussion. I just missed the last 2 games we won them. We had a 9-game winning streak where I was completing 14 passes a game. I can hand the ball off, lean on the defense, and we win. So I think it's clearly Jordan Love.
See, I think that graphic that you showed is a little deceptive, because that 7-1 also kind of correlates. It's not specifically correlates, but correlates pretty closely to how many attempts J-Lo has. And first of all, Hurts should be under pressure to win, just so we can get rid of the J-Lo nickname. We don't have to do that anymore. But that they've actually reeled him in, and they've been more successful when he's attempted less passes as opposed to them putting the pressure on him. And I'd argue that they have a pretty good running game. That running game has been very.
I think Josh Jacobs is a good player.
Yeah, and he's been extremely good for them, and that's taken a lot of pressure off them as well. And I agree with your point too. Last year was house money. This year's some expectations. Now with that in mind, though, I do think this is a much better team. Philadelphia has a much better team. They've got the consistent running game. They are so good defensively. They're going in with a completely different field this time than what they were experiencing last year at this point. And Hurts is going to feel pressure from A.J. Brown to have him involved. And he's got to be able and willing to fight that pressure and go to the correct reads, as opposed to try to make him happy and then make some kind of mistake that ends up being the difference in the game.
Okay. We're having many different conversations here, and a lot of them are completely wrong. First off, we're not even defining pressure properly, and that's why they're having 2 different conversations here. They're having like 3 different conversations here. Pressure, meaning pressure to perform at a high level because that's what your team needs, pressure from your team, like we need a big game out of you. Yes, Jordan Love is under more pressure because he needs to play better and higher level football. Otherwise, the Packers have no chance. The Eagles with Jalen Hurts, because of how great their team is, how stacked they are on both sides of the ball, yes, Jalen Hurts isn't under as much pressure. They don't need Jalen Hurts to be a superhero. They just need him to just not take away from the team, and they will win, because that's just how great this roster is. But in terms of pressure now, from like outside pressure, media pressure, pressure as into like, what is the perception of you? You're not expecting the Packers. I mean, the Packers are the 6th seed. They are banged up. They're not doing well right now. I think even Packers fans are going to be like, a lot of Packers fans are kind of like, yeah, I have a belief in them, but like, nah, I'm not feeling too good about it. The Eagles have the pressure of winning the Super Bowl, and Jalen Hurts needs to play great. Jalen Hurts has to prove to be part of the solution and not the problem. If Jalen Hurts plays a poor game against the Packers, if he has 1 touchdown, 1 interception, and 165 yards or something, and a 63% completion percentage, and they lose, or even if they win, they'll be like, they won despite Jalen Hurts. And if they lose, yeah, there's going to be issues. The Philadelphia Eagles have incredibly high expectations, and you got to win. They moved on from Carson Wentz. They moved on from Donovan McNabb. Like, they move on. They move on. You got to win. You got to win. And McNabb actually said it best like a decade ago with Chip Kelly. Chip Kelly had like a winning record, was actually doing pretty well. And he said, Chip Kelly will be gone unless you win playoff games. Chip Kelly didn't. Chip Kelly was gone. And he's like, I told y'all. Like McNabb knows. You got to win. You got to win, and you can't just hang your hat on going to the Super Bowl and playing great. And I've defended Jalen Hurts a million times. If this is your first time watching me talk about the Philadelphia Eagles, I've just defended and have praised the Philadelphia Eagles and Jalen Hurts again and again and again. But you got to perform. You got to perform. And so, yes, playing for the Philadelphia Eagles, Jalen Hurts will be under constant pressure. Constant pressure. If Jalen Hurts doesn't win a Super Bowl within the next 2 years, you're going to have real loud voices of say, get Jalen Hurts out of here. Move on from him. There's not a doubt in my mind. We've seen it again and again and again with the Philadelphia Eagles. Like, this isn't a hot take. This isn't shocking. The Eagles are not the Dallas Cowboys. They're not okay having their quarterback not make it to even an NFC championship game. They're not okay with that. They're not. They move on. They will make a big play for a quarterback. So yeah, unless Jalen Hurts consistently proves that he is a major reason why the Philadelphia Eagles are as great as they are, if there's any question about that, it's open season. The Philadelphia Eagles do not mess around. Jeffrey Lurie, Howie Roseman, they do not mess around. They want to win. They want to win big. If there's any doubt that Jalen Hurts isn't a true bona fide top quarterback, and if he holds this team back in any way, the Eagles will be aggressive. Because this roster is really young. Like, there's still plenty of runway here. Plenty of runway. And so if you get stuck in this game where you're like, if we just had a little bit better of a quarterback, would we have won multiple Super Bowl? Did we waste this roster? You're not going to do that. Philadelphia Eagles are not going to mess around with that at all. Now, the reality is there might not be an easy solution to that, because you can't just now like draft another quarterback, or, what other quarterback's going to be a free agent. Is there a situation where, like, what was similar with the Rams, where they were able to be like, all right, give us, Matthew Stafford. Like, if Josh Allen and the Buffalo Bills lose first round, is there a situation where Josh Allen's like, get me out of here, man. Get me out of here. Get me out of here. And, trade me to the Eagles. At least you get Jalen Hurts. At least you get another quarterback that can keep this afloat for y'all. Just like what happened with the Detroit Lions and, Jared Goff. But get me out of here. I'm done. I'm done with this. Like, that's an actual possibility. I'm not saying it's going to happen. I'm not saying that the Eagles are going to do it or the Bills are going to do it. But, like, it's all these things can be possible if the players want it to be. You know, Joe Burrow too. Joe Burrow could be like, get me out of here, man. I am not playing for you anymore. I am not playing for you anymore. Just trade me, man. Please, I've done everything for you. Just get me out of here. Send me to a team that I can actually win. And then a team like the Eagles would be like, yeah, well, you know, we'll do it. And then again, that's where like the Bengals or the Bills or some of the other teams would be more willing to do it because they're like, yeah, we don't want to trade our superstar, but like we haven't been able to win with them. They won out. We got to do right by them. And at the very least, we do at least get a quarterback who's obviously been to a Super Bowl, who's obviously played well. It would be literally exactly what happened with Jared Goff and Matthew Stafford. Nearly identical. And if you don't think Harry Roseman, the ruthless, elite, top-level, super genius GM, would be able to find a way to make some of those things happen, you don't watch Philadelphia Eagles close enough. You don't. So yeah, Jalen Hurts has pressure to win Super Bowls. I sneezed on the truth. So that's why Jalen Hurts has the pressure. He doesn't have the pressure to perform because his team needs him to. But he's got all the other pressure to not be the reason why the Eagles don't win. Jordan Love could have a rough game, and people will talk about it for sure. The Packers will talk about it, but they'll defend it. They'll explain it away. They'll say they went up against a good team. Jordan Love got injured, banged up. He had no one to throw to, etc., etc. Jalen Hurts has not offered those excuses for the Philadelphia Eagles, especially when you have such a stacked roster. And it's a good problem to have. That's not a Jalen Hurts issue. That's what happens when you're the Philadelphia Eagles. When you have the third most playoff wins in the last 25 plus years. You know, only behind the dynasty of the New England Patriots with, you know, Tom Brady, and then the Baltimore Ravens. Then the next up is Philadelphia Eagles. So you got to win. You got to win. That's the way it is. But those are just my thoughts. I'd absolutely love to hear yours. What do you guys all think about the Philadelphia Eagles and Jalen Hurts? Who do you think's under more pressure, Hurts or Jordan Love? Let me know in the comments below. I read every single comment, so whether you agree with me or disagree with me, either way, let's get in some discussions. Let's get in some fights, but ultimately, let's just have some fun. And please do consider subscribing. We are building an amazing community here, and I absolutely love to see you part of it. I want to build something that we all genuinely feel connected to, something that we're really excited to be part of. I think we're on our way to doing it. Please don't forget to give this video a thumbs up, as it really does help with the visibility and the algorithm. Thank you so much. See you next time.